If you're into your motors, and we are, you're always on the hunt for an Italian sports car. Maybe a Ferrari, Maserati, Lamborghini, something like that.
Italian sports cars are, generally speaking, very elegant, aren't they? They do tend to look like they're doing 100 miles an hour, whether they're parked in the car park or indeed on the road and doing 100 miles an hour.
They do some great little engines, don't they? And they do some great big engines.
They seem to kind of get the right ingredients, don't they? You know, they've just got a bit of flair about them, haven't they? A bit of pizzazz.
If you're going to get one, you have to get a red one, don't you?
Well, the one we fancy isn't red, sporty or even fully Italian. Good job it's cheap. An Alfa 164 Super. Styled by Pininfarina, the 164 was the last chance saloon for Alfa Romeo, taking on the likes of Mercedes and BMW in the hope it would pull Alfa from niche to mass market, with a clever twin-spark engine under the bonnet. Despite a huge overall improvement in reliability, Alfa Romeo was bought out by Fiat before the 164 was launched in 1987. More than 250,000 was sold over the next decade, and some would say it was one of the greatest cars Alfa Romeo ever made. I bet Paul's gonna love it.
It is just boring, isn't it? Never floated my boat, ever. They just don't. It's just a get you from A to B car, isn't it?
Well, if it manages that, we'll be doing better than usual.
Alfa, rust and electronics. Yeah, build quality, really. Let's be fair, they're never sort of up there with build quality, were they? I'm going to get shot down for that one, aren't I? But look at that in there. She's grand, isn't it? To be honest, for one of these, it's not in bad shape, is it?
He seems to be warming to it. This one has only done 57,000 miles, so we think it's a lot left to give. At the right price, of course.
Me, personally, I see it more like £1,500. Personally. It's this era, isn't it? It's not old enough to be classic. It's not new enough to be trendy. It wants to be 10 years older. And then it'll be a desirable thing.
As ever, we're ahead of the curve. The vendor thinks it's worth more than Paul's 1,500 quid, though.
1997 Alfa Romeo 164 Twin Spark Lusso. Now, these are unbelievable values. Too cheap at the moment, these. There's only one way these are going to go.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. Stop it.
We're 3,800, 3,008, 3,008, £4,000, £4,000, 4,000 away then.
Oh, I'm not going to bid much on this.
Are we bidding on this?
Yes.
£4,000, 4,200, 4,002, 4,000.
Seriously?
4,400.
What? What's going on?
4,400, 4,400.
I'm going to have one more. One more.
4,500, 4,500, 4,600, 4,006. On sale and going.
I'm not buying this.
You're out. Bangers team, you're out. Gonna be sold 4,647, 4,007, £4,700, 47.
It's not exactly the high performance model.
No, it's got a lovely twin cam engine.
It's got 4 doors with it.
Yes, I know, but it's the last of the real great Alfas, I think.
47.
We bought it. We bought it.
For a little more than we hoped at £4,700.
Oh, my Lord.
But we are ever the optimists.
Anything, Phil?
No, they're still on.
What's on?
Reversing lights. Oh, they flickered then. It's off. On.
Looks like our Alfa has a few electrical complications. Who'd have thought it?
Ah. Does that remote not work then?
Not for sausage, no. There's no keyhole?
No keyhole that I can see, mate.
No, there is.
Is there?
Yeah, there is. Well, these boys, look, they're useless, aren't they? Just do that. Just do that.
I thought that was glued on. That felt glued, that. Nothing.
Other than that, it's not a bad car if it start, was it?
No.
Tried inside. But it's an Alfa Romeo. You've got a flap to put your skis in, you know.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been reading about it.
Oh, jolly good.
The plan was to drive the 164 up to Scotland, but it's on the trailer. Hopefully, Edward Labinjo can shed some light on the electrics at his garage just outside Edinburgh.
I'm not quite sure what I was expecting, but actually looks quite tidy.
So it's a good start then, Edward.
Well, we have to remember it doesn't run, so just before we get too excited.
We believe there is no one better equipped to take on the 26-year-old Alfa.
I sat in the Alfa 164 first in Italy at the launch. I liked the look of the car. I liked the way the doors closed. I was already familiar with the V6 engine, but the way the car was put together was quite impressive. And I remember being invited to head the procession of cars at the launch.
30 years ago, Edward was following in his father's footsteps as a medical student at Edinburgh University. But cars were his real passion. From the early 60s, he built, raced and sold hundreds of sports cars, mostly made by Alfa Romeo.
And the cars had spirit, in part because of that funny Italian seating position. Sitting a bit closer to the wheel, the knees apart, you realised you could just feel yourself going down that Alpine pass on the way to Milan. And anyway, I got to enjoy them.
And he still does, at the ripe old age of 81.
OK, the moment of truth arrives.
Edward will have Karol Dabrowski working alongside him.
All the joints underneath has been sealed.
Yeah.
So whoever had this car knew all the bad points.
And they've taken care of that.
They take care of it.
Yours is a remarkably good car on the underside.
Sorry, for a moment then I thought you said it was remarkably good.
This is the best one that I've seen, certainly in 10 years, yes.
That's a surprise to all of us. Now, on to something we know is not working.
Wow, OK. Again.
No crank.
Intermittent crank. OK, hold off for a moment. I'm going to stick a hand in and just see if we've got bad connection on the starter.
OK.
I've moved the wire. Do you want to try and crank it again?
Yeah.
OK, that's hopeful. What can I say?
You fixed it.
Sorry. What I've done is I've gone to the starter motor to move the wire that activates the solenoid, but at the same time I've disturbed the main lead, and that gives power to the coil packs.
So which was it that fixed it, moving the wire or disturbing the other one?
Disturbing the other one, the accident bit. It's not important to be clever. It's actually just important to be lucky at the right time.
So we've been lucky in buying a car that's quite good, and you've been lucky in getting it started, right? We take cars to different people and they plug a computer in and they look at the numbers. You've got your eyes shut and you'd got your hand on it and you were listening to it. And that's a lifetime of experience, isn't it?
Or a lack of a computer.
In Edinburgh, our Alfa 164 is behaving in a rather Italian way.
Edward, it's fair to say there might be one or two little electrical issues.
Yes, it's...
On an Italian car?
It's part of the joy.
Thankfully, Edward Labinjo and Karol Dabrowski are taking it one step at a time.
We are finding that the heater is controlled by the fog lamp.
So you've turned the fog lamp off and the heater's gone off?
Indeed. And if I turn the headlamps off, the heater goes off.
So there are, in fact, several ways of turning the heater on?
There are a number of ways of turning the heater on and off.
None of them are the correct way?
The correct way. So, interestingly, from my memory of the wiring diagram, there's no connection between the two.
So you can only have the heater on when it's foggy?
You can only have the heater on when you press the fog lamp. It doesn't have to be foggy. Is the rear fog lamp off now?
Off.
Off.
Yes.
On.
Off.
Still off.
Have you put the heater on? Edward, the reverse lights are on, is that correct?
So the reverse lamps are on.
They're constantly on.
So the reverse lights don't work as well?
Don't work as well.
Well, they do work, but not
well, they
necessarily
do work,
at the correct
but
time.
they work incorrectly.
I'm confused.
You're confused?
Yes.
I'm confused as well.
Oh, good. And you're the one that's going to have to fix all this.
Yeah.
Our Alfa heater is still blowing hot and cold.
It's not behaving quite as we expect, even with the fault.
So hang on, is the fault faulty?
The fault is faulty.
Have blown fuse.
Well, we've had the engine running with the blown fuse. It's beginning to look as though there might be a fault in the fuse box that is allowing the fog lamp fuse to bridge to the heater.
The faulty fuse is replaced and it's now all working as it should. Well, sort of.
We still have the reverse lights that are switching on with the ignition, and I'm hoping that that's going to be slightly simpler.
Edward, if you look closely, you can see half a switch is damaged.
The switch is corroded and is in a permanent contact inside. So that's going to be a simple fix. We just get a switch and change it.
Change it.
Next up, the valve clearances need to be checked. An important service item that should be done every 30 to 40,000 miles.
The point of it is to protect the engine. Like all the routine maintenance we're doing, it's about protecting the engine, the car, against potential damage.
Carol, whilst you're working away, Edward's knowledge is just staggering, isn't it?
It's incredible. I cannot describe how knowledgeable he is.
Oh, well, yeah, you get to be old, making lots of mistakes.
Well, I met a lot older people, and they never taught me that much.
And one thing Edward has learned over all these years, Italian cars, even ours, are very, very special.
Cars were integral to people's lives. It's a reflection of the culture. It's an extension of Italian culture. And yes, a little bit of unpredictability. So what?
Back at Edward Labinjo's garage, just outside Edinburgh, our well-oiled 1997 Alfa 164 is nearly there.
Like all old cars that haven't run for a while, they're likely to have a few gremlins.
Carol has renewed the suspension bushers and brake pipes, and on further inspection, part of the exhaust also needed replacing.
Interestingly, this one, wherever we thought there was going to be a significant difficulty, it turned out usually to be much simpler than we anticipated. But we're not quite finished with it yet.
An emissions fail at MOT was our last hurdle, but it was quickly sorted out with a clean of the carbon on the throttle body. It then passed with flying colours. It's a proud moment for Edward and Carol.
I don't see one every day, and it was fascinating to work on a 164, introduce the car to Carol, and point out the interesting bits that not usual for the younger engineer. I would love to see that car make something close to £12,000. In reality, it's going to make probably something just over half that. But it perhaps has not been such a bad buy for you and will be a wonderful experience for someone else at that price.
Let's see how it all stacked up. The original purchase price, including tax and commission, was £5,123. Parts and materials were £1,154. And labour cost us £1,578, bringing our total spend to £7,855. We'll be doing very well to get that back at auction. Our Alfa 164 is now back in North Yorkshire.
How do you get in here then? Oh, my Lord.
After a 4-hour drive from Edinburgh with absolutely no problems.
Wow, that's good going, isn't it?
It is. What do you reckon?
I think it's still as boring as it was when you bought it. But I appreciate it because it's still here. And that's great, isn't it?
Who else is going to save these things? If we didn't, cars like this could be lost forever.
It feels tight. It feels as it should for 57,000 miles. It feels just right. You know, let's be fair, you get in some cars, don't you, and they feel like they've had a hard life and they've done far too many miles and hard miles. And this doesn't. This feels nimble and responsive, and yeah, I like it. It's good. It's all right. Yeah.
So it drives better than it looks?
It definitely drives better than it looks. Let's be honest, it was always going to drive better than it looks, wasn't it?
So you liked it, Paul?
I wouldn't go that far, but it drives as it's supposed to, and it drives quite well. It does. It's a nice environment, nice and quiet, isn't it? It glides along.
I personally can't think of a prettier Italian car. But have another look.
Hang on.
Yeah, that's it. Give your glasses a polish. Have you seen a prettier Italian car than that?
Not today.
So with Paul now on board, let's see if anyone else is interested.
Number 442, which is the Alfa Romeo 164 Twin Spark. I had the privilege of driving it, and it is an absolute pleasure to drive. There we are. Father says an absolute pleasure to drive. There you are. I don't know where we're going to be with it, but we've got £3,000 pinged up on there now. £3,100 bid we've got at 3,001, at 3,233. I'm probably assuming you spent this at the specialist in Edinburgh, I would think.
Well, we paid more for it.
So you paid more than this?
Initially.
Right. At 3,600, at £3,700, at 3,000,
it's inching up.
At £4,000, at 4,000, at 4,001, at 4,003, at £4,300 bid, at 4,300.
Gotta go. It's got to go. Hell of a bargain. Hell of a bargain.
At £4,300 bid.
Ooh. Come on.
Down to North Lincolnshire, slightly nearer. At 4,004. At 4,005 and 6.
Oh, come
Fresh
on.
bidder, thank you, 4,600. At £4,600 bid. Third and last time, fair warning, hammers coming down at £4,600. 4,600.
Oh, do you know what? It just, John, it just feels really unfair.
That's a good car.
It is.
Not quite what we were after. In fact, £100 less than we paid for it. Never mind all Edward and Carol's hard work.
The argument is that someone's paid too much money for it at the beginning or the end, haven't they?
Who would that be, Derek?
And I've got a feeling I know which one it is. You're going to have to buy from a cheaper auction. It's as simple as that.
From Milan to Barnsley, where our Alfa has found a quite unexpected new home.
I just was looking to see what it went for, really. But I put a cheeky bid on it and nobody else bidded on it.
So you ended up winning it?
Yeah.
Craig Sutton and his daughter Callie are now the happy new owners of our 4-door executive saloon.
It drives mint.
Craig's wife, not so keen on the idea.
Seeing as though it was my 40th birthday, I thought, she can't really kill me 3 days before my birthday, so...
And thankfully, he's still alive.
Well, when she saw it, it's not her cup of tea, but she's actually said that it's comfiest car she's ever sat in. When she said seats are amazing, and that proves that as soon as we got in it on way to caravan at weekend, she fell straight to sleep, so... And she didn't wake up till we got there, so it's win-win.